Hello everyone, my name is Chris Tackett. I'm the pianist for the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson, and it's my great pleasure to once again welcome you to my living room. I want to break with one of my usual customs this morning, and then I want to tell you about what I'm playing before I play it this morning for the prelude. I've chosen Fats Waller's Black and Blue. It's from a show from 1929 called Hot Chocolates. It was reused in the 80s in Ain't Misbehavin', the big show that made Nell Carter into a star. But the lyrics are by Harry Brooks and Andy Razoff, and I want to read you a couple of them before I play it. I'm not going to sing it, don't worry. The last couplet is, how would it end? Ain't got a friend. My only sin is in my skin. What did I do to be so black and blue?
Welcome. I'm the Reverend Matthew Funke Crary. Wherever you are, or whenever you gather with us, you are welcome. Our Baja 4 Sunday services are a collaboration of the 4 Unitarian Universalist congregations here in southern Arizona. My congregation, Borderlands UU, Mountain Vista UU, Sky Island UU Church, and the UU Church of Tucson. As we are discovering, this collaboration of our ministers and staff and congregations is so much more than the sum of our parts. And though we remain independent congregations, through our shared ministry, the Baja 4 is emergent. That is, the Baja 4 expresses our Unitarian Universalist faith in ways that none of our congregations could ever do alone. And this reflects what science, systems theory, art all acknowledge. The emergent cannot be predicted from its independent parts. You have to witness where it shows up to discover what is coming into being. I'm grateful to live into this mystery with the Reverends Tina and Samantha and Bethany, the music directors and musicians Shekela, Brian, Chris, and Lud, and Jamili, the Lifespan Learning Director of our Baja 4 worship team. In the emergency of a pandemic and the urgency of racial justice today, we have crafted this Sunday service to look into our hearts, our homes, and our public square, to witness where we find our faith emerging today. In the mystery of the emergent and with the Baja 4 team, wherever and whenever you are, know that you are welcome. Come, let us worship together.
As I share these words from the Reverend Teresa I. Soto, if you have a chalice or candle nearby, will you please light yours as I light mine? Everything is still on fire. Despite your best efforts, in addition to living, it is clear that you must level up in what it means to thrive. Right now, it means wrestling with the truth and the fact that everything is not all your fault. I am sorry that everything is still on fire. Once hate catches, the winds of not my problem blow, and the blaze is hard to stop. But hard is not impossible, and not yet is different from never. You in community have an answer. You have a response to the systems of power and control and the cost of suffering. You and your community together are the answer. You are not only a people of flame, but also a people of cold, hard truth. You know both where you fall short and where you flourish, and where you still reach. Everything is still on fire, but all is not lost. You remain more nimble than steadfast, more unshakable than swayed by the latest rage. You are here to put out the ravenous flames and heal the world. Enough is enough.
Speak their names is a rallying chant. Recall their life is the protest charge. Remember is the cry for justice. With hearts open, with eyes wide, with voices strong, may we speak their names. May we recall their life, and may we always remember. Where is the emergent in our hearts? I've been looking, I've been listening, seeking to find the emergent in the hearts of fellow Unitarian Universalists all week. I was so intent on looking outward, I almost forgot to witness what is emergent in my own heart. What I've witnessed among us and within us are lamentations. I've heard it in the breaking of a dear colleague's voice as she named her fierce grief at George Floyd's murder. Read it in an email analysis of our nation's history of racial justice that just went on and on and on hopelessly. I felt it in the silence, the exhausted and afraid and pain-filled silence, when no words could do justice. And I saw it in the tear of a church leader came as she realized that we cannot gather. We cannot be together now when she needs the gentle presence of our congregation around her. These are lamentations. They are the grief-stricken yearnings of our hearts, some named and others simply embodied. They are our reaction to the suffering all around and deep within at this moment. We, Unitarian Universalists, we're not well acquainted with lamentations. As a people of covenant, we orient on aspirations and inspirations. And yet, our covenantal heritage arises out of the Jewish tradition which holds the Book of Lamentations as a sacred text, attributed to Jeremiah, the weeping prophet, so called because among his writings are lamentations at the destruction of his city and country, at the desecration of his people, and the defilement of their faith. In Lamentations chapter 2, verse 11, Jeremiah says, "My eyes fail from weeping. I am in torment within. My heart is poured out on the ground because my people are destroyed, because the young, the innocent, swoon in the streets." There's no comfort here. There's no call to action. There are no plans to make it right. There's only grievance. A single heart protesting suffering within a covenantal faith. And this is the truth echoed in each of the lamentations that I witnessed this week and what is emergent in my own heart today. Because despite the discomfort, I feel exhausted. I feel grief and disappointment. And somehow in naming that, I find myself not in despair, but turning toward the suffering of others to affirm and promote their worth and dignity. It is uncomfortable, yet naming my own lamentations, I long to hear the truths of another's. In that democratic space of responsibility and conscience. For there is suffering and loss well beyond me that I cannot hope to know unless I allow it through the cracks of my broken heart. In this interdependent web of our shared existence. And our inspiring inspirations, they will come. They will come. We will choose to bring them in time. For now, for this time of pandemic, and just uprising, let us be open to the lamentations emergent in our hearts, the grieving, the mourning, the holding of suffering that honors our shared humanity. Each lamentation, held within our covenantal faith, it moves my heart to this awareness that you and I, we, are in this together.
Once upon a time, there was a woman named Mia. Mia had a family who loved her and who she loved a great deal. She had work that was fulfilling, and she had a beautiful butterfly garden that would bloom in riotous colors every year. In the evenings, Mia would sit in front of her fireplace with her family or her cats or her dogs or just her knitting. Mia loved the fireplace. When it was chilly, she would light a fire. The hearth was out of ancient oak carved by some long ago forgotten ancestor, and blue floor tiles to protect the carpet. One day, however, Mia began to feel restless. That night, she dreamed of a large bridge. At the base of one of the pillars of the bridge was a treasure beyond her imagination. Mia had the same dream for the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row, and she grew increasingly restless every night, wondering where this bridge was and what this treasure was. So Mia decided to go find out. She found where this bridge was and she traveled there, and when she arrived, the bridge was exactly as she had dreamed, except for one thing. At the foot of the bridge in front of one of the pillars was a guardhouse. The guard came out and confronted her. "What are you doing here? You do not belong here. You are trespassing." Mia was able to stammer out the reason for her visit. "I had a dream," she said. "There's a treasure buried at the bottom of this pillar, right where you are standing." The man stopped. He said, "I had a dream of a buried treasure." "This treasure that I dreamed of," said the man, "was not here, however. It was in a beautiful home with a butterfly garden that would bloom in riotous colors in front of a hearth made of ancient oak, underneath a blue stone floor tile." Mia went home and she found the treasure that the man spoke of.
Dear baby, I know there are people who love and care about us who are concerned, even sad, that this is the time you come into a world. And although I get the fear, something is so important about coming into this world with possibility now. You enter a different conversation. You and your friends will not be fearful of being called racist. You will know you grow up in a racist world, and that each day of your life there is a responsibility to untangle and unlearn and undo what has come before you. You will not rest in the belief that we have come a long way. You will know that after hundreds of years, there is a way that is longer than you and longer than your life, and that you will be part of what you can. That you rest beneath the shade of so many leaders who came before you, organizers of slave revolts, escape routes, policies, homes, hospitals, hashtags, and social movements, and their shade will be the shade from which you and your friends grow something even bigger that must outlast you. You will grow up in a white family who talks about race, and you will know what it means to be born the way you are born in this country. And you will not be gripped in fear for the conversation or the policy change or the action or the request, because you will know that if it is visionary and if it is uncomfortable and if it interrupts business as usual and if it is led by those you love who are most directly impacted, that it is worth doing. You will know that it is not your leadership that is needed, although, my dear, there will be times when you will be the first one willing to do something, but that is not the point. It is your willingness to participate wholeheartedly, unlearn wholeheartedly, be led wholeheartedly, make mistakes and be imperfect, and love yourself and others wholeheartedly. To begin again, knowing that you can't do it alone. And that you will grow up loving that it always takes more than one person to do something worth doing. And where else can you learn these things, baby? Yes, you will get many messages in your own life, but the one you get here and the one we'll practice here, me and my partner and this family, we will embody through every mistake and every learning and every relationship and every willingness to return again and again We will embody the message that will go counter to everything else that this world will teach you and desperately wants you to act as if nothing is wrong and it has nothing to do with you, and if you can't do it right or perfectly the first time, and be congratulated for it, that it is not worth doing. You will know better. This home is your church. Your home is the church. Your life is the church. Each of us has a different practice of what is ours to do. May we practice it and do it right where the treasure is buried. Amen.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Where is emergence in the public square? At the intersection of 38th and Chicago and South Minneapolis, there is an emerging community gathering place. Maybe you've seen it. It's been a place of public mourning since George Floyd was murdered there almost 2 weeks ago. There are chalk drawings and dance tributes, murals and handwritten notes, bouquets of flowers lying on the pavement. A few days ago, neighbors installed a community water station for those who don't have access to clean water. A few blocks away, there are donated groceries being distributed and medical aid being offered so that all have what they need. This is a community, safety, and care. This is an alternative to policing. Emergent moments like this one are organized and yet responsive, practiced and yet unscripted. Emergence does not come out of nothing. It comes out of the people and practices, ideas and habits that are already there, here. In this time, we are surrounded by an emergent uprising. What is our Unitarian Universalism's place in this emergence? These words from Reverend Robin Tanner capture the call I am feeling. Take this as her charge to us. Be the sanctuary. Open the doors to medical aid and safety for the community. Sound the shofar to call out the urgency and call in the healers. Be the sanctuary. Remember, the early Christian churches resisted the state. Create altars that celebrate their lives and beauty that live in us now. Be the sanctuary. Remember, care for the sick. Be the sanctuary. Refuse to call police. Answer a higher call. Be the sanctuary. Refuse to admit ICE and instead open in doors. Be the sanctuary. Refuse to bow to a demagogue. Be the sanctuary. Know the communion of mutual aid and the fasting from white supremacy. Be the sanctuary. When the old way must burn, let it. And know that the building is not the sacred. Be the sanctuary. Ask, who is beloved to the night sky? Stay deep in the day stars rising, saying the names of the exquisite elders and ancestors with the children rising up in courage and vision. And you too, and together, may we be the sanctuary.
So much of this past week I felt hopeless. I have not felt like I could unisolate myself and go out and join people in the streets. There's a few things that I can do, and one of the ways that I comfort myself is by making music. And I encourage you, this is a thing that you can do at this moment to join in. This song that we're about to sing is a refrain from a punk rock song. I've sung it earlier and introduced you to it a little earlier. Some of you are beginning to get to know it, and soon the choir will present a virtual choir version of this. It takes a long time to assemble. But I ask you to join in because this is a thing you can do at this moment, and singing along with me is a thing that I believe is important. It's a simple song. I will line it out to you, sing each phrase, and then I'll sing it through a couple of times. Join me on the melody as you catch it. First words are, when the world is sick, can no one be well, but I dreamt you was all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, try that. When the world is sick, can't no one be well. Your turn. Can't no one be well, but I dreamt you was all beautiful and strong. But I dreamt you was all beautiful and strong. Let's put that together as if we were on the street trying to find a way to connect to people, strangers that just feel a thing that we're feeling at this moment together. So across the distance, join me in singing. When the world is sick, can't no one be well, but I dreamt you was all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, can't no one be well, but I dreamt you was all beautiful and strong.
The Baja 4 is emergent. It is emergent in our hearts, our homes, and in our public spaces. It is emergent in that reinvention, reimagination of church that we've been talking about here in the past couple of weeks. And as I heard Shekela say earlier this week, it's emergent in our lives. In our worship planning meeting on Tuesday, she said, if people are the church, and we are reimagining the church, then we are reimagining the people and where we show up. The reimagining, reinvention, the emergent, whatever you call it, it is happening. And we are becoming in ways that we could have never before predicted, but in love, always in love, together in love.
If you have a chalice or candle lit, won't you join me in extinguishing yours as I extinguish mine? Hear these words from the Reverend Megan Foley. Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Teresa Soto writes, "All of us need all of us to make it. I want you to get used to those words. Make them your prayer. All of us need all of us to make it. This is why Unitarian Universalists support the Black Lives Matter movement. Please take a moment to center the struggle for Black lives in your thoughts." Say it with me out loud or soft. All of us need all of us to make it. In a world where some of us are targeted for struggle and brutality, where others of us benefit and flourish, we pray. All of us need all of us to make it. In a world where powerful people of ill will and indifference make us fearful for our safety and our futures, we pray. All of us need all of us to make it. In the excruciating space that lives between seeing and naming, hearing and changing, we pray. All of us need all of us to make it. Make a picture in your mind of someone you aren't very happy with right now. Look at their face in your mind and pray. All of us need all of us to make it. Unitarian Universalists believe that all of us need all of us to make it. That is why we are in solidarity with the movement for Black lives today and every day. Amen.
Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Lift every voice and sing, 1921. James Weldon Johnson and J. Rosamond Johnson. Thank you all for listening.